water's edge, there put on my coat of sealskin. Crept between the reeds and sedges, dipped my toe in the icy ocean. I went down to the water's edge, there put on my coat of sealskin. Slipped into the briny ocean, sing the songs the sea has taught me. I will swim and I will dive, and I will sing the songs the tide has brought me. I went up to the mountain high, there put on my cloak of feathers, climbed into the tallest tree, feel the wind and watch the weather. There put on my cloak of feathers, climbed into the tallest tree, leaned into the wind and weather. Tell the tales the birds have told me. I will swim and I will fly, tell the tales the wind has brought me. I went down to the water's edge, there I wore my coat of sealskin. I went up to the mountain high, there I wore my cloak of feathers. I will swim and I will fly, tell the tales the birds have told me. I will swim and I will fly, sing the songs the sea has brought me.
So, I'm going to read from Eftwyrd. I need to tell you a little bit about what Eftwyrd is. It's an epic poem. In 2016, Smokestack published Lyre, which is about a monk walking from Hartlepool, St Hilda's Monastery on the Hartlepool headland to Whitby. He's carrying some secret letters Hilda's given him to deliver to Earl Eftwyrd, who's the sub-king of Northumbria, and he rules from the Tees down to the Humber. That book ends as he's crossing the Tees, and the witch, Peg Powler, the river witch, Peg Powler, comes out of the reeds. Whether she does or he's hallucinating, you don't really know. But anyway, he falls in the water and she drags him down and drowns him. Or so I thought. That's how the recent spell ends. But several years later, I thought, what if she didn't drown him? What if she just kept him as a kind of like plaything, a pet for a few years, and then he manages to escape from her? And what would he do? He'd carry on to Whitby. But the years he's been living in the river with her have changed him. He's become a kind of boggart, noose-like creature. So this is a sequel where he escapes from her and he carries on his journey, and it ends with him getting into Whitby, and he gets to Whitby for the synod, so he meets Hild and Wilfrid and King Oswy, and there was a pandemic that year as well, a massive pandemic, loads of people dying all over the kingdom, and because he's been travelling around through it, and he looks at the way he does, he's kind of transformed a bit, they think he's the spreader, so they want to build a pyre on Whitby cliffs. Wilfrid wants to sacrifice him. It's quite an intricate story, obviously. We're not going to read the full thing. It's also written in the kind of hybrid Old English language with the modern translation next to it. Russ is going to read the Old English, and I'm going to read the modern translation. So it goes like this.
world was her, the grind in a her watters, the swain a her hearty, the flared sailor the clout to her wan, grainy afenglom on my stramham, fisherman full scrap full of whale gifts. For here, be our clotho and a fairer be ale fox, if beloved be a swa fail. The gatherer, the hraeltes, the river leaf.
From swollen tides all the world was her. The grinding of her waters, the brine-sealed robe of her womb, evening green gloom of her stream, of my stream home, full of fish bones, scrap-riddled fear gifts, for she be familiar and feared by everyone, but believed by so few, the gatherer, the reed witch, the river wife.
And he was not yet aan her gathered trinkets, your straeon betrimbrede, ye like Jonah within the gutten of the while, melting into all the great turnings and singdens of the happenden that setten or hitheness new.
And I was nothing but one of her gathered trinkets, ill-gotten treasure, remoulded like Jonah within the belly of the whale, melting into all the great swirlings and singings of the happenstances that fix the present.
Is the other parents of Angelcoon and Inborn yon the shad waster trails and left twiggis, Monripple, frith candle sheen is Steorglenton, and there lust and wilnum for those stradstead, and he laughed at me buttocks for their splitness. Neither then, their earthbound freedom to me thraldom. Do they witness me near the word unshur creapen? Do they hear come min brunne well bewalian?
I saw the spying eyes of Angles and natives, beyond the reflections of trees and branches, moon ripples, the glimmer of candles, starlight, and their lust and desire for this dreadful place. And I'd laugh my arse off at their quandary, envy their earthbound freedom to my captivity. Did they witness my lowly, unclothed creeping? Did they hear my fiery waves of wails?
Yet, a swelling of burning, and burning a leafen, swa heli test pegs reckon nearly, and I, swa hair slippeth. I slippest herlina, snickers fear afra her hår puttan bed, uppkomma flauten, toward frumlicht, fesh urluft and breedsang, bewerpen the spellion of rappling good.
Yet, swollen of burnings and befitting of living as demoness Peg's wretched slave, one day, as she slept, I slipped her tethering, snuck far off from the mud hole and bed, floating upward towards the dawn-like fresh air and birdsong, casting off the conspiracy of Stockholm syndrome.
Breckum the water shimmering hood to gopen a gobful of honey sunbrowdy thul, sweaty swalindus fan in mjordel. Fingers je faren fair lufthelme, and scrabble toward the undiopera. And offerslinken hungre die sukken stunken gura, till firme grund kan ik uppheld the body's wucht. The rocks skrafe shinbanes and ankleos.
Breaking the water's shimmering hide to gulp a gobful of honey sun-brewed air, sweet as Lindisfarne mead. Fingers reaching for the sky and scrabbling towards the shallows and sliding over hungry, sucking, stinking slime till firmer ground could support this body's weight. Rocks scrape shin bones and ankles.
I maken verder bekmother, dreifian into eldritch straean, slippian on mud and over klimben logis, neergrippen trouwert and tagen on tuffes and reeds, to craft a hoorfweer. Yet the sunbeam is vleachon dimme, quick winds swapen the lagerflod, bemanen and grommen, sucken within every nook, a threshing bulrushes, werpen the waters to rudges, and I kunne, quain peg, haft on wakken, befinden me gone.
I made for the beckmouth, pouring into the stream, slipping on mud, clambering over logs, gripping onto tree roots and tugging on tufts of reeds to craft an escape. But the sunbeams fade to dimness, quick winds sweep the river, moaning and growling, searching every nook, thrashing bulrushes, whipping the water to ridges, and I know Queen Peg has awoken to find me gone.
I skjuden at her wolfen hlunen, her stränge kurses, her unbläckten snär och wurgan, je fälen leg rein, and I kuth I mund her grippiste and schripen nailes, ein klinket stormblast ticht, så herfrom for krakast, the opluft, and the wappelath kummer, lika whale havoc.
I shudder at a wolf and howling, a string of curses, her hex's snare of condemnation falling like rain, and picture her grisly bite and scraping nails, eyes screwed, storm blast tight, as lightning cracks the skies, and the downpour comes like a warhawk.
But even hit west a klumme ut of the backwaters where the derlich klutcheth of the stream devil, a rusty and wormlik onto the drink and earth, off a staggering into the thickest hunker, shivering under blasted leaning trail boys, a bead in the storm field, and you held in the puddles swelling, braden and spilling.
Believing it wise to climb out of the beck, from the deadly clutches of the river devil I ride like a worm onto the drenched earth, staggering off into the thickets to hunker, shivering under blasted, leaning tree trunks, to wade out the storm and watch the puddles swelling, commingling and spilling.
And within the rippling runnels ye see of me, and Johannes, swat was not nebbit bairns, splashing and bewooling and butching swelch puddles, a forgetting a clout and but the lugs be our wrath and mother, for coming harm smitten in clown. And he wondered, what has become of me, brother?
And within the rippling runnels I saw me and Johannes, as two snot-nebbed bairns splashing and rolling about, forgetting a clout about the lugs by our irate mother for coming home smeared in filth, and I wonder what has become of my brother.
Das burrows rich like all fish into the bursting farming or the churning beck, so often needfend a Queen Peg.
These puddles rush like eels into the bubbling foam of the churning beck as if coming home to Queen Peg.
Will Tino, he'll have to track me with kindness, calling me Polwig, strucketh me a swearer, and feeding me truffies of froggaleggies, beckles, snails, shrimpy and seawort.
Sometimes she treated me with kindness, calling me tadpole, stroking me, calming, and feeding me tidbits of frogs' legs, beetles, snails, shrimp, and seaweed.
Wheel Tidum here smothered me in soupy cosses and sweaty bletsunger, on he rad me like a luffield.
Sometimes she smothered me in soft kisses and sweet blessings, and then rode me like a love fiend.
Wheel Tidum here was sorrowful, grown, and brunnit her mother. Wheel Tidum here was offestlich. Gilpeskäden in office nese, and beat and shriek me saying, he must goblin me up, snad be snad. And should she begin with that ear finger? Should she rafik ut min tunge? Of the better to render af a flesh clumpy for me buttocks.
Sometimes she was sorrowful, agitated and weary from weeping. Sometimes she was bitter, arrogant in spite, and would bite and scratch me, saying she must gobble me up piece by piece. And should she begin with her little finger? Should she rip out my tongue, or better to tear off a fleshy lump from my buttocks?
Me moon be a mist helmet diderens, and he wonder, who long have he been her plight thing?
My mind is a fog of tremors, and I wonder how long I have been her plaything.
Amongst dripping thurflas, and bare the fallen leaves, each second to remember on that leaf he hath lad before him, he becomes the fair girl at gallows for an watting. There were glaurens, places, half-hurt swires, a rod, a fur, a godweef, an old man, a harley mother. There be a warm maiden. Da bera weilden a wurax. Yat da ewer dreamlich dwi'n mor yn glider unga. Quadra an gleawod still rangum bwt mi herfod. Lig da cnwla the church and bell calling ear to wirth shippa. Streanas halch, streanas halch, streanas halch. The abod reacher o herrid sang set an hair on wheat cliffs, flairton on even flairthor, frithw and glengful with the god web, Belochian da by where the esk met as the brimflod, and he cwth in me breasthod. That be a war in Neargan.
Among dripping shrubs, and a bed of fallen leaves, I seek to remember the life I led before I became a fiend girl's enchanted wetling. There are flickerings, places, half-heard voices across a fire, a good wife, an old man, a holy mother. There was a young maid, the bear, wielding a war axe, but they are dream-like phantoms and slipperings. Although one word of joy still rings about my head like the knell of a church bell calling all to worship. Striona Slal, Striona Slal, Striona Slal. The abbey of prayer songs set high on white cliffs, floating on choral voices, peace, and adorned with flags overlooking the bay where the Esk meets the sea. And I know in my heart that is where I need to be.
Latinus, the rain wakens, the hlun and wind is still blowing. Neither within the wood of Dany there be now land meats to Alina in sylf, though the wind and beck be your wisdom be flow for uplands for treading for the hullas.
At last, the rain lessens, although howling winds still blow. Down in the wooded Dean there are no landmarks to align myself, although the winding beck is sure to flow from highlands running from the hills.
He hear min hunger growling, in tony with the globe and beck flood.
I hear my hunger grumbling in tune with the glubbing becksong.
To the niche, a drumbell bear comes fimbling through the trails to Turgan and boot me, fat fourwheel, spreckled with blust crumbs, gathered for sweaty from milk. Beflair near, then he settled on in foriam, swa settiful swa elf cosses. He will come in a honey maiden with a whisper, afore it Eftwyrd into luft, yet it stathers close, fletty and near, within its trumbly and drane. Silent Eft, amage the Eft coming, wherefore and trembling and boot me. Three teda, it gan flaten, it yet shows at the full whether it twist.
Suddenly, a bumblebee comes fumbling through the trees to buzz about me, fat fur balls speckled with pollen, gathered for sweet flower milk, flying close, then settles onto my forearm, soft as elf kisses. I welcome the honey maiden with a whisper before it flits off into air, but stays close, flying near, within its tumbling drone, sailing off only to return, whirling and wheeling about me. On the third time it goes flitting. I choose to follow wherever it leads.
It comes back to me, swearing waft through the wood. There be a boog antir when do they tend in the hove, helping Al Wunston till in the Munster swear, gathering the honey tears on warm summer erfenes. Swedel in the hove in ship bull flesh fire winter ring. In morgen, Wunston sprak in the drumbel bears, telling tales of all the cummins and garnets. Swithos anis siocnos of death within the frithyard. When he asked on hui, he did a look in boot in bewerdon. Then he said, in an smult wigta, so I now offer a sour milk here, bears. About Aaron's who took so the quick and the dead.
Comes back to me as I weave through the woods. There was a bygone time when I tended the hive, helping old Wunston manage the minster's swarm, gathering the honey tears on warm summer evenings, swaddling the hive in sheep's fleeces for the winter's ice. I remember Wunston speaking to the bees, telling them news of all the comings and goings, especially of sickness or deaths within the sanctuary. When I asked him why, he looked about warily, then said, like a gentle breeze, so no other soul might hear, these better messages between the living and the dead.
Imin bod an othra bed at stand a while at it, what come a rinning to me within a wulma satieras. The dear bear hold in brad hand, and he swapping he up, telling he all won't be a full have. Though he will not think of that's teenness, now what become it on me bairns.
I remember another bee, the stung small boy who came running to me in waves of tears, the dead bee held in his palm, and I swept him up, telling him all would be well, although I will not think on those times, nor what became of my bairns.
Wardw ladness in yara way and way, wa clava coin.
Where do you lead in your wending way, little clover queen? So he travels. I've woven lots of folklore and northeastern Teesside folklore, Cleveland folklore into the story. So he ends up in Skinny Grove at one point, and they catch him, and they think he's the merman. So it comes to the merman story, the Skinny Grove merman story. But then he heals a young boy. He's got some healing powers. So he heals a young boy who's got a sickness, and they have a celebration and sing him a song. And so I've written the only song I've ever written. It's in Old English, or kind of hybrid Old English. But Russ put it to music and sang it, and then Peter's learned it as well. So they got to perform it. Just to finish it off, the Merman song, Skinny Grove in Old English. Should we read that a little bit out?
At the Brumrim smoothness, Harlik leert a welke ripplen, the fisherfolk gathered, bleef the lichtje eten, drank and singlen, klepen om sandfuris under the upcoming morning. Voorlicht glistened and on water, steel spreckling the uplift, so if trembling for herfolk by the drainkraft of piep, Lyre and timpana. And the even therefore lifted in gather east.
At the sea rim stillness, only light rolling ripples, the fisherfolk gathered joyfully, eating, drinking, singing, dancing round the bonfires under the rising moon, firelight glistening on the water, stars speckling the skies as if wound out from heaven by the tune of the pipe, lyre and drum, and the voices lifted in companionship.
Seek at the world for Harley man till your hour, going Greek sick less than dim. He dinny gan fish not for mermanin, if thou dinny cunny how to swim. For his fierce spear green as seawards, his skin be a blow black heat. We love food mermanin with fuel nobla herz, och how we be a merch till alla. We love food of merry men with feel herz. We welly good the man lickerdale, we welly good the fisher lickerdale. And how we be a merch till all.
Anyway, there are copies to buy if you'd like a copy. I'd like to thank Russ for reading in Old English. Big round of applause for Russ. Singing in Old English. But also everyone who's come on stage has shared their work and shared their voices and their truths. And it's been a really beautiful celebration of culture. Thanks very much for coming.